Let's start with a little truth bomb, shall we? Before the big 1857 spectacle that everyone talks about, there was a queen. A fabulous, fierce queen who looked the British Empire dead in the eye and said, "Not today, darling." Rani Chennamma of Kittur. This wasn't some minor disagreement over tea and biscuits. This was a woman defending her home, her legacy, and her people with more fire than a Bollywood finale. Her story isn't just a dusty page in a history book. It still hits in 2024. It's about courage when the world tells you to sit down and be quiet. Who doesn't need that energy? So who was this icon? Rani Chennamma, Queen of Kittur, now Karnataka. Not born a warrior, destiny had dramatic plans. She was a ruler. She was a mother. She was a strategist. Juggling more roles than a triple-role blockbuster. She did it all with grace and power. Her audacity to challenge the British Empire is utterly captivating. True power isn't the size of your army. It's the size of your heart and conviction. Let's get into the drama, because honestly, it was a lot. After her husband, the king, passed away, Rani Chennamma found herself in charge. And let me tell you, she was not just a placeholder queen. She ruled Kittur with a firm but fair hand, looking after her people like a protective mother. Everything was going as smoothly as a well-directed film until tragedy struck again. Her son passed away, leaving the throne empty. Like any responsible ruler, she adopted a new heir to ensure the kingdom's future. It was all very proper, all very legitimate. But of course, the British East India Company decided to make a big fuss. They were not having it. They came up with this terribly unfair rule, a precursor to what was later called the Doctrine of Lapse. It basically meant that if a ruler died without a natural heir, the British could just swoop in and take over the kingdom. It was the ultimate power grab, dressed up in some legal nonsense. Can you imagine? Someone telling you that you can't pass on your legacy, your home, your everything, just because they made up a rule. Rani Chennamma was absolutely not going to stand for it. She sent a letter to the British authorities in Bombay, pleading her case with logic and dignity, but they were, of course, terribly arrogant and dismissed her. So, what does a queen do when diplomacy fails? She puts on her battle armor, obviously. In 1824, she led her small army against the might of the British forces. This was the Kittur Rebellion, and it was epic. In the first round of fighting, her army actually won. They delivered a shocking defeat to the British, and a high-ranking British officer, St. John Thackeray, was killed in the battle. This was a huge moment. It was a slap in the face to the British, proving that they were not invincible. But, as in all the best tragedies, the victory was short-lived. The British, being the sore losers they were, came back with a much larger army. And here comes the heartbreaking twist. Chennamma was betrayed by some of her own people. It's always the inside job, isn't it? She was captured and imprisoned in Bailhongal Fort. She spent the rest of her days as a captive, a lioness in a cage. She passed away in 1829, never tasting freedom again. A story like Rani Chennamma's is too fabulous to just fade away. It's the kind of epic that demands to be told and retold. And that's exactly what has happened. Her memory is not locked away in some dusty archive. It is alive and kicking in the heart of Karnataka. People sing folk songs about her bravery. They also sing Lavanis praising her. These aren't just old tunes. They are powerful ballads. They bring her story to life around campfires and on village stages. Imagine the drama, the emotion. It's like the perfect background score for a tale of heroism. Her life is a favorite subject for plays and for street theater, keeping her legacy accessible and entertaining for everyone. And then there's the Kittur Utsav, a massive festival held every year in Kittur to celebrate her and the rebellion. It's not some boring official function. It's a 3-day extravaganza. Culture, sports, celebration. There are performances, exhibitions, talks. It's a way for the entire community to connect with their history, from the oldest grandparent to the youngest child. It's like an annual premiere for her life story. Everyone's invited. Of course, we love a grand gesture. Statues of Rani Chennamma are everywhere. They usually show her on horseback, and with sword in hand, looking every bit the warrior queen she was. One particularly stunning statue stands in front of the Parliament House complex in New Delhi. It's a powerful national statement. It says a woman from a small southern kingdom is a national hero. These statues are not just stone or metal. They are daily reminders of her courage, standing tall in cities and towns. And we cannot forget the schools. Her story is a staple in Karnataka history textbooks. Children learn about her from a young age. Section 4, why Chennamma is like totally relevant in 2024. Now let's talk about the now. Why is a queen from 200 years ago still making waves in 2024? It's simple really. Her story is not just about the past, it's a mirror to our present. First and foremost, she is the ultimate symbol of women's empowerment. In a world where we are still fighting for women to have a seat at the table, here is a woman who owned the whole palace. She was a leader, she was a warrior, she was a diplomat. The Nanu Rani Chennamma campaign, I too am Rani Chennamma. It was a brilliant modern take. It encouraged women to see the queen within themselves, to be leaders in their own lives. It's just so inspiring. Her fight was also fundamentally about justice. She wasn't just fighting for power, she was fighting against an unfair, imposed law. The Doctrine of Lapse was a colonial tool designed to crush local sovereignty, and she called it out. This makes her a powerful icon for anyone fighting injustice today. When people protest against unfair policies or the abuse of power, activists invoke her name. Politicians invoke her name to talk about standing up for what is right, for protecting local rights against big, impersonal forces. Her story gives a historical weight to modern-day struggles for justice. Her relevance also shines through in culture and education. She is what we call a homegrown hero. In a world obsessed with global superstars, she is a reminder of the incredible stories in our own backyards. Placing Chennamma in this global context shows her story is a human story, about freedom, resistance, and the indomitable spirit of a woman leader. Section 5. Bringing the queen into our everyday fabulous lives. So how do we make sure this icon remains more than just a statue or a history lesson? We have to bring her into our everyday lives, make her spirit a part of our modern narrative. It doesn't have to be some grand, dramatic gesture. Small things can make the biggest difference. Schools could create more interactive projects around her life. Imagine kids making short films. Imagine kids making podcasts about her rebellion. Festivals could commission new plays. Festivals could commission new songs with a modern twist for 2024. It's about keeping her story fresh, dynamic, engaging for the youth. Community groups can play a huge role too. They can organize storytelling sessions about Chinama, about other local women leaders. It's about creating a culture of celebrating our own heroes. Social media campaigns are also fabulous for this, using her name and image to promote girls' education, leadership training, civic awareness. A simple hashtag can carry her message of courage to millions. We could even have small, simple plaques next to her statues, telling her story in a way that a child or a tourist can easily understand and connect with. Ultimately, Rani Kittur Chinama's life teaches us about leadership, serving your people and protecting their dignity, about courage, taking a stand when the odds are stacked against you, about justice, a principle worth fighting for. She was a woman of her time, but the principles she stood for are absolutely timeless. She shows us that a single, determined person can light a fire that inspires millions. Let's carry a piece of her spirit with us. Be a little braver, a little more just, and a little more willing to lead. Her story is a guide for our future. Rani Chinama is more than a historical hero. She is a living, breathing symbol of strength, and her reign, darlings, is far from over.